Hey everyone, let's look at the questions on business cycles, unemployment, and inflation. The first question it says recurring upswings and downswings in an economy's real gross domestic product. That means the real gross domestic product increasing and decreasing. These are called business cycles. The next one, as it relates to economic growth, the long term trends, this refers to long term expansion or contraction of business activity that occurs over 50 to 100 years. All right, then going to question number three here. This is asking which industry or sectors in the economy in which business cycle fluctuations tend to be the most. This will be capital goods and durable consumer goods because you want to put off purchases of new capital and consumer goods during a recession phase of business cycles in which real GDP declines. This is called a recession phase where real GDP is at its lowest. This is a trough. Then, question six, recession is defined as a period when this one real domestic output goes down. Question number seven, which of the following constitute the types of unemployment occurring at the natural rate of unemployment? This one is structural and frictional. So, when we talk about the natural rate of unemployment, this means we do not have any business cycles and the cyclical part is equal to zero. So, natural unemployment is only structural and frictional unemployment. Moving forward, the type of unemployment associated with recessions. This will be this one, the cyclical unemployment. All right, question number nine. Demand pull inflation occurs where total spending exceeds the economy's ability to provide output at the existing price level. It's like too much money chasing too few goods. Right, people want to spend more than what the economy can produce. Question 10, inflation as measured by percentage changes in consumer price index. CPI is consumer price index. This is going to be more volatile than core inflation. When we look at core inflation, it takes up volatile prices of volatile items that changes every day. That means core inflation takes off prices of food and energy. So these are very much volatile. That means fluctuates a lot. So core inflation is calculated by taking off food and energy prices. Cost push inflation. This happens when aggregate supply curve shifts to the left. This is going to reduce the real output. All right, question number 12. Nominal interest rate is 5%. Real interest rate is 2%. The inflation premium is going to be 3%. So this is going to be 5% minus 2%. This is equal to the inflation premium. Moving on to question number 13 here. The diagram illustrates the pattern of business cycles. Level of business activity on the vertical axis is measured by real gross domestic product. So we see all this upswings and downswings reaching a lowest point and then going up, and this part is the peak. Moving on here, the accompanying list describes the responses of four individuals to the Bureau of Labor Statistics survey of unemployment. So we have four cases here. Number one, it says Molly is graduated from college and now looking for job. She has had 3 job interviews in the past month but still has not got a job. This one, she is frictionally unemployed. The waiting period, people look for a job, they're frictionally unemployed. So the question, what is this asking us? Which individual is frictionally unemployed? So this is going to be Molly. Next one, number 2, George used to work in an automotive assembly plant. He was laid off 6 months ago as the economy weakened. He expects to return to work in a few months when national economic conditions improve. This is cyclical unemployment that is related to recessions. Number 1, this one, Jean worked as an aircraft design engineer for a company that produces military aircraft until she lost her job last year when the federal government cut defense spending. She has been looking for a job, but no company seems to be interested in her skills. So this one is structural unemployment. The reason this is structural unemployment is because no company seems to be interested in her aircraft design skills. Okay, she needs to acquire new skills here. Number 4, Ricardo lost his job last year when his company downsized and laid off middle level managers. He tried to find another job for a year but was unsuccessful and quit looking for jobs. That means he is not in the labor force anymore. I'm going to classify Ricardo as a discouraged worker. Okay. Alrighty, question number 15. Which individuals should be included in the calculation of natural rate of unemployment? So whoever is frictionally unemployed and whoever is structurally unemployed will be included. Now, going back to our where I wrote it down, the types of unemployment here looks like this one. Molly is frictionally unemployed and Jean is structurally unemployed. So both of them will be calculated as in the calculation of natural rate of unemployment. Who is a discouraged worker? That is Ricardo, because he quit looking for jobs. So he's not in the labor force anymore. Alrighty, question 17. If the total population is 200, that means this is the total population in an economy. The labor force is 90 to 100 and 92 people are unemployed. What is the unemployment rate? Labor force. This includes people employed and people unemployed. So out of 100, 92 are employed. So the rest of the people, 8 million, this 8 million are unemployed. But they are really asking us to calculate the unemployment rate. The formula for unemployment rate is number of people unemployed. Just do it this way here. Number of people who are unemployed over people who are in the labor force. That means people employed plus unemployed. The whole thing we got to multiply times 100. So this whole thing here, I'm gonna multiply this whole thing times 100. All right, in our example, the number of people unemployed is 8. Number of people employed is 92, unemployed is 8. So basically, this is the labor force. This whole thing times 100. This is equal to 8%. So our answer to this question will be this one, 8%. That is the unemployment rate. Okay. All right, I'm going to take this off so that I can make space for the next question, which is question number 18. This one's telling me if the real and nominal interest rate both are 3%, so the nominal, from that I'm going to subtract this one, which is the real, and I'm going to get the inflation premium. So the inflation premium here will be equal to 0. This is my inflation premium. Okay. Already moving on to question number 19, which is a little bit tricky. Not a lot, but just a little bit tricky. All right, it's telling us a person's nominal income increases from 10,000 to 12,000, and the consumer price index increases from 100 to 105. What happens to this person's real income? Okay, so the percentage change in real income, this one will be equal to the percentage change in the nominal income. From that is subtract the inflation rate. So the inflation rate is the percentage change in price. Already, what's the percentage change in nominal income? So the new value is 12,000, the old value 10,000, the whole thing over in there. Let me change this color really quickly because this stopped working. So, okay, over 10,000, the whole thing will be multiplied times 100. So if you do the math here, you have 200 over 10,000 times 100. So this one, let's see here. This one's going to be equal to 20% if I just do the math. Now, the inflation rate 100 to 105. This one is going to be 105 minus 100 over 100 times 100. So my inflation rate is equal to 5%. So a lot of math here. So percentage change in nominal. This one I found out as 20%. From that I subtract 5%. So what I get is 15%. So the real income increases by 15%. Right, so what I can do here is this one was 20% and this one from that I took off 5%, so I'm left with 15%. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at question number 20. I'm going to use the same formula I used here, used for question number 19 to do this problem. This one says the real is equal to nominal minus inflation. This is how I find the real income or also the real interest rate. So I'm just going to take this off so that we have more blank space to look at. That really relieves our mind and our eyes. Already, let's see here. Okay. Right, so basically, because it like froze me for a while, I have to come back to this meeting. All right, I'm back because it just froze me and I have to restart the whole thing. It says nominal income. Choice A is nominal income rises by 8% and price level rises by 4%. So I'm going to write down the value for real from each of these four situations. For the first one, the real is 8% minus 4%, just writing down the formula here. This one is equal to 4%. The next one, nominal income falls by 2%. So this one is negative 2%. From that, I subtract. The price falls by 10%. So I'm going to have negative 10. So what I just wrote down for number B was nominal income falls by 2%, so negative 2. Because I have this negative as part of the formula here. Over here, price is going down by 10%. So I have a deflation here. So this is just negative 10%. Now, this is going to be negative 2%. I have two negatives, so this is going to be equal to 10%. So my result here is 8%. That's what I'm going to write here. This is equal to 8%. Okay, yes, this is too many things here. All right, number C, the nominal income falls by 4% and the price level rises by 6%. This one's equal to negative 12%. Okay. Next one, number D, the nominal income rises by 15% and the price level rises by 12%. This one is going to be equal to 3%. So out of this four cases, I see for number B, the real income rises by 8%, and this is the highest. And this is going to be the answer to question number 20. Okay. Question number 21 is the same. I strongly encourage you to do question number 21 by yourself, doing all the calculation. It says, in which of the following cases would real income increase? The answer is going to be C. Okay. You can do the rest of this question yourself. Going to question number 22 here, it says core inflation measures underlying increases in CPI after removing volatile food and energy prices. This was just the formula. Question 23, they're asking us to calculate the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is equal to number of people unemployed over employed plus unemployed, the whole ratio multiplied times 100. In this example, the number of people unemployed is 15. Now I need to know how many people are employed. So this will be both full-time as well as part-time employed. So number of people employed is gonna be 80 plus 25. This is equal to 105. Now I'm gonna go and write down the value, the formula for the unemployment rate. So basically plug in the numbers here. Unemployment rate is number of people unemployed over 105 plus 15. This whole ratio is gonna be multiplied times 100. So what I have here is 15 over 120. This is multiplied by 100 here, and what I'm getting in my result with this calculation is I'm getting 12.5%. So this is the answer to my question, 12.5%. Alrighty, going to question number 24 here. It says, which of the following is would most likely occur during the expansionary phase of the business cycle? Cost push, no. Structural, no. Frictional, also a no. A demand pull inflation is the answer. 25, we have rising per unit production costs. These are associated with cost push inflation. Then the cost push inflation is caused by definitely not this one, question number 26, because it should be not going to be caused by a decline in per unit cost of production, because in 25 we have the choice cost push is caused by increasing per unit production cost. This will be this one, a negative supply shock. Ready? All right, too much money chasing too few goods. That is a demand pull inflation. We can write that in our sleep. Demand pull inflation, question number 28, occurs when total spending in the economy is excessive. 29 looks like the CPI or the consumer price index falls from 120 to 116. The economy has experienced what? Definitely the economy has experienced some deflation because the price went down from 120 to 116. So this was the old price, which was 120. This is the new price, which is 116. Now I'm going to calculate the percentage change In price, this will be 116, new minus old, over old times 100. So I have 4 over 120 times 100. So my rate is equal to 3. Alright, it's a negative 3.33%. This is a negative already. So negative means we have a deflation. All right, question number 30. We have inflation means what? Inflation means it's going to be this one. Prices on average are rising while some particular prices may be falling. Question number 31 here, it says for every 1% point the actual unemployment exceeds the natural unemployment, a 2% a 2% negative GDP gap occurs. Right, this is Okun's law. This is Okun's law here. Please, please, please take a look at the YouTube link I made and uh, I gave it to the class, this YouTube link. Now, question number 32 here, it says the potential GDP is 200. The potential GDP, another name for this is also called the full employment gross domestic product because we are using all our resources. Now, the next thing I have here is the natural rate of unemployment is 6%. So this is frictional and structural. Actual unemployment rate is 12%. That is frictional and structural and cyclical. So basically here, if I take one off from the other, I have a cyclical unemployment which is equal to 6%. If I have a cyclical unemployment of 6% from Okun's law, I'm going to have a negative GDP gap. And how much will be the negative GDP gap here? See, for 1%, the negative GDP gap is 2%. For 1%, see, the cyclical is 1%. 1% point, the actual exceeds the natural rate. But here the actual is greater than the natural by 6% here. So my negative GDP gap will be 6% times 2. This is going to be equal to 12%. This is what I found out. But the question is asking how much output is lost in the economy. To answer that question, I'm going to need the value of full employment gross domestic product. The output lost will be 12% of 200. Take this, so this is going to be equal to 24 billion. So this is your answer here, 24 billion. Okay. Be very careful with these questions. Question number 33. If the actual is less than potential, then what happens here? So my actual GDP is less than potential GDP. Then the actual unemployment will be higher than the natural rate of unemployment. And this is where we have a recession. So I went over this using an Excel sheet and made an YouTube link on this concept. Please look at this link. Alrighty, now moving to the next one here. question number 34. If actual GDP is 340 and there is a positive GDP gap of 20, potential GDP is equal to how much? How do you find a GDP gap? So the GDP gap is equal to actual GDP. From that, we take off the potential gross domestic product. So GDP gap is a positive number here, which is 20. I'm just going to write here positive 20 billion dollars. This is equal to actual GDP given to me as 340. From that, I have this potential gross domestic product. Now, if I change sides, positive becomes negative. So, the potential GDP, this will be equal to, I'm moving potential to that side. 340 stays as it is. I'm going to bring 20 to the right hand side. So my answer is going to be 320. This is the answer to this question. Now moving over to question number 35 here. Actual GDP is 500. Here I have a negative GDP gap of 10. They're asking us to find the potential gross domestic product. All right, I'm going to use the same formula I used here, which is equal to GDP gap equal to actual minus the potential gross domestic product. I have a negative GDP gap, so negative 10 billion is equal to 500 minus potential. I'm going to move potential to the left and I'm going to move this 10 to the right. So this negative 10 becomes a positive 10. And my answer will be $510 billion. This is the answer to this question. Alrighty, question number 36 here. This is telling me part-time workers who want full-time jobs are counted as fully employed, and therefore this one is question number 30. Yes, and therefore this is going to understate the level of unemployment. Definitely not going to overstate. Question number 37. Dr. Homer Simpson, an economics professor, decided to take a year off from teaching to run a commercial fishing boat in Alaska. This year, this one is going to be counted as employed because no one really let him go. He's just taking some time off and he decides to come back after a year. So he's still employed. He's on a sabbatical, enjoying fishing in Alaska. Question number 38. Susie has lost her job in a Vermont textile plant because of import competition. She intends to take a short course in electronics and move to Oregon, where she anticipates that a new job will be available. We can say this one, structural unemployment. So we get structural unemployment for two reasons. One is people lack the necessary technical skills. This one's number one. And number two, due to offshoring of jobs. Your job is not in the country anymore. Okay. Now, question number 39 here. The presence of discouraged workers. This is going to understate the true amount of unemployment. Again, we went over this part when I was looking at the shortcomings of this unemployment rate measure. Now, question number 40, which is the primary reason that changes in total spending leads to cyclical changes in output and unemployment. Changes in total spending, government is unstable. It's going to be this one. Prices are sticky in the short run, not in the long run. The last question here, in which phase of the business cycle the economy will most likely experience rising output and falling unemployment rates expansion. Alrighty, thank you very much. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe.